my kids made a bad start. Unfortunately, they've used a Union Jack instead of the real British flag, the St Andrew's Cross. But thanks, girls. Oh, can we see you? There you are. There's Faye. Oh, I can't. Hold on. There's Mia. There's Faye. And we're talking to nobody. There's nobody on. Thanks, guys. That's really kind of you. So, okay, we're going now, I guess. Can I have my rucksack?
I need to get a photo of you.
Sorry, just getting things set up. I had my first technical problem with my gimbal not working. Oh no, my first one was I tried to share location with people and it's not worked. And now my second problem is that my gimbal decided it wasn't charged anymore. So, and now my third problem is that Julia is trying to dress me. All right. Thanks, ladies, for the amazing start. You look very happy that I'm going. You're excited? Why are you excited? Oh, there's my taxi. I'm going to tell everybody I walked but I'll really get a taxi.
Get in the photo by the start line.
Oh, one person's on. Hi, whoever's on, thank you for being the first person. How do we need countdown?
Yes, we do.
You got a whistle? So how are you going to count me down? So can I get a kiss first to say goodbye? I'll see you in Boomtown, I hope. Okay, bye. Don't cry. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Remember,
4, 3, 2, 1.
thank you. See you.
Bye, darling. Good luck.
Bye. So here we go. Oh. First day, first leg. And the battery is falling down into my Nadja. So, hey mate. So start, thanks mate. Oh, bye darling. So thank you. Don't worry, I'll be fine, okay?
Okay.
Bye darling. Don't worry about anything, okay? Hi Tom, thanks for saying I'll be safe, don't worry. Come on, turn round you bugger. Thanks for joining. Okay, so like I say, today is first day, first leg. The plan is to walk from here in District 2 to District 7 where I've booked a hotel for the night, which cost me $13 for including taxi, so I'm sort of hoping I don't get value for money. And the walk is about 20 kilometres, so it's a bit less than what I'm the average of 25, so tomorrow I think I'm going to have to make it up. I think tomorrow will be more like 30. So I wanted to let you know how I'm planning for this to work, the live streaming, etc. I'm not intending making a lot of live streams, and I'm not intending that they'll be too long, but I will at certain points be turning on. I won't be doing any notifications because it might just be totally out the blue. Thanks, Julia. I'll be safe. Love you too, Fung. Thank you. So But today, this morning's one might be a bit long because there's a couple of questions that people have asked me about certain things, and so I want to give a bit of explanation. So one of the questions that I'm getting asked a lot is why I'm doing this on my own. And the real answer to that is I really don't have any friends. So when I refer to friends in the chat, I'm actually talking about acquaintances. I did, when I was thinking about doing this, I did ask my good friend, or good acquaintance, should I say, Peter Nicholson, who I've known for many years, if he wanted to join, and his answer was F off, so I took that as a hard no. So after receiving that sort of response, I decided it's probably better just to do it myself. And the other question that I've been asked quite a lot is, why is it called the Not So Orange Walk? And that really is going to take a bit of explaining. And it refers to how I was brought up, I suppose, and where I was brought up. So there was people that thought it was Vietnam related, and I don't want to go into why that would be Vietnam related, but I was brought up in Glasgow, and Glasgow's in Scotland, by the way, and yes, we do speak English, and yes, it is part of the United Kingdom. So anybody, I don't know how much people know about Glasgow, but it's a very divided city in terms of religion, and basically divided, although of course there's small pockets of other religions, it's basically divided into two, which is Catholic and Protestant. And the Orange Walk refers to a Protestant march that's held on the 12th of July. And the march commemorates a guy called King William of Orange, who has actually got nothing to do with the UK because he was Dutch, who was invited in by Protestant noblemen to get rid of the Catholic rulers. And there was a major battle called the Battle of the Boyne. We're now on Towdene Street now, which is the Beverly Hills of Ho Chi Minh City, but as you can see, there's not really many stars around. So the Battle of the Boyne took place in 1690, and King William, or as those who seem to know him better than me call him King Billy, basically smashed up the Catholics and took control of, wow, look at the traffic, took control of the British nobility, and therefore they started a Protestant dynasty of rulers in the UK, which continues until now. Although I don't know if they're actually descended, but it continues to now. We're even to the point where in the UK, the king wouldn't have been allowed to marry a Catholic. So that form of bigotry still goes on. So I was quite unusual in that I was brought up from a family where my dad was a Protestant and my mum was a Catholic, and when I was born in the 60s, there was very rarely marriages like that. So I could never be on either side. So as well as being a country that was divided on religion, it was divided on football. And if you were a Protestant, you were expected to support Rangers, and if you were a Catholic, you were expected to support Celtic. And that could cause a hell of a lot of problems, and it still does. But for me, actually, I was quite close to my dad, and he was a Hearts supporter, and Hearts are from Edinburgh. So I was a Hearts fan, which could become very difficult because it was a pretty major sin not to support one of the other teams, and it really was. You know, if you met a guy in a pub, say, and you didn't know him, and he asked you what team you support, most guys had a 50-50 chance. You know, it was a 50% a punch or a 50% a pint, depending on the answer you gave him. So if you said you were a Celtic supporter and the guy was a Rangers supporter, then good luck, and the other way around. But I was neither, so I actually was a equal opportunity victim. You know, I was diverse before diversity became popular. You know, and there was always the option to say you didn't like football, but that actually was even more of a reason for a kicking, because although you're not allowed to say words like this anymore, and I'll have to say them, and you can work them out yourselves, because I'll have to say the words that rhyme. You know, like you were a roof or a steer, or maybe somebody more educated would call you a chromotextual or something like that. So you not only get a kicking for not liking football, you not only get a kicking for not liking one of the two teams, but you also get a kicking over your perceived sexuality, which I couldn't ever quite work out what was to do with you not liking football. So anyway, going back to the Orange Walk. So in July, Scotland and Northern Ireland, we have the Orange Walk, which is supposed to commemorate King William's victory over the Catholics, and but always seemed to me just for an excuse for people to drink cheap wine, get into fights, and get teenage girls pregnant. I didn't really see the relevance to the famous Battle of the Boyne. But I couldn't participate on either side, although I was brought up a Catholic, because the Catholics are pretty, what's the word? I don't know. There's a word for it, but I'm not sure I can say it. But they force you to sign papers that will say that your kids will be brought up as a Catholic. And they say it was bad enough at that point that my dad, because he was a Protestant getting married in the Catholic Church, a lot of his friends refused to go to the wedding. It was really that bitter, and I never really wanted to be part of it, and I never really saw much sense in it. So when I was thinking of the name, every time I think of a walk, then because of the conditioning of my childhood, the Orange Walk is what I think of. And I think every time, you know, there's all these great walks which I mentioned in a previous video, that, you know, people doing Everest or Machu Picchu, or even in Scotland there's one called the West Highland Way. Somebody was telling me recently of an amazing walk in England on the south coast. But whenever I think of a walk, the word orange always comes up in front of it. So I decided that I would call it the Not So Orange Walk, as a tribute to that bit of bigotry that I was ingrained with during my childhood. It wasn't all bad, you know. the the hatred did lead to some great songs, you know, on both sides. And I would sing them for you, but unfortunately, it's so noisy that I'm not sure you'll be able to hear it. But I'll do my best, right? And I'll try and analyse them as I go along. So on the Protestant side, they had a song which very, very catchy tune. But it used to go, oh man, it's so noisy. It used to go, hello, hello, we are the Billy Boys, right? So, Billy Boys, King William's men, I guess. Very polite, they say hi and they introduce themselves. And then the second line would go, so you go first line, hello, hello, we are the Billy Boys. And you go the second line, hello, hello, you know us by our noise. Right, I feel not a lot of thought went into that second line, right? Because I think they could have done a bit of branding there, you know. They more than 50% of the population in Glasgow was Protestant. There was a bigger population of Protestants in Glasgow, so they could have gone something like, hello, hello, we are the Billy Boys. Hello, hello, we're selling adult toys, right? There's something like that where they could have given themselves a little bit of branding. Already had a big market for their products, but they chose to just come up with a stupid line that they'll know is by our noise. And then the next line I actually can't say, right, because I think it would get me banned under the YouTube community guidelines, right? So there's a word in it, you can Google it, it's spelled Fenain, right? But I'm going to have to change that to onion, right? So the next line is, we're up to our knees in onion blood, right? So I've always wondered about that, right? How do you get up? How many people do you actually have to murder to get up to your knees in onion blood, right? And I did have a thought yesterday when I was thinking about this, was the Billy Boys originally could have been dwarfs, I don't know, right? They could have been a team of dwarfs, and therefore they'd have to kill a bit less people to get up to their knees in onion blood. But I always felt that one is that you have to kill a hell of a lot of people, but two is, why would you be happy about that? Why would you be happy to? This is the new rail station, by the way, or part of the new rail network, which it might be 50 years late, but it's really, really good. But anyway, so there they are, the Billy Boys that we know by their noise are up to their knees in onion blood as we now speak. And then the next line is pretty hopeless, really. It's no surrender, or we'll die, or you'll die, not we'll die. Obviously the Billy Boys are not in a mass suicide pact. And it finishes off with, for we are the Govan Billy Boys. But Govan you could replace with anything, and you've got to hand it to the songwriters here, right? So I could have, we are the Saigon Billy Boys, or we are, I don't know if Tracy and Stephen over in Penang are tuned in, but you could have, we are the Penang Billy Boys. So the composers did a bit something clever there, where you could be a Billy Boy anywhere, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu, they could have Billy Boys everywhere. But to me, if I was going to be walking around in onion blood, I'd probably join another club. And then you had the other side, the Catholic side. And there was always a favourite song of mine that I knew when I was first, I reckon I must have been about 8 or 9. And it, to me this one's even worse, to be honest. So it went, roaming in the gloaming with a shamrock in my hand, right? So I know there's only a few people on, but roaming, for those who you don't know, is sort of wandering about. And the gloaming, I used to think for years, it just gave me the feeling of sort of green pastures, nice fields. But actually the gloaming is dusk. And dusk is the period between when the sun's going down, so daylight into dark. And I'm telling you, right, in Glasgow, and this was in the 70s when I learned this song, right, when it's starting to gloam, you do not want to be roaming in the gloaming, right? You want to jump in a taxi and get home and lock the doors and don't answer them until the next morning, right? And the shamrock actually is a leaf. That's all it is, right? It's an Irish leaf. So you've got these idiots that are wandering about when it's just about to turn dark, carrying a leaf for protection. But I have to say they're not alone. And again, I have to be very careful because I have to go back to the onion word. So you've got, what the fuck is this doing? Oh, it's facing me. Shit, sorry. So the next line maybe sort of explains a bit why they're confident to roam, but it never really fully explained it. So we're roaming in the gloaming with a shamrock in my hand, roaming in the gloaming to St. Patrick's Onion Band, right? I've never ever heard the music of St. Patrick's Onion Band. Right? I've tried, I've researched, I've never been able to find any of their CDs or any of the music on Spotify. What the hell? But when I picture them, I don't picture them as being up there with the rock gods of that time, you know, like Led Zeppelins or your Deep Purples or, I don't know, AC/DC. Why are you not working? I'm thinking more you know, Coldplay or somebody like that, you know, somebody that you don't admit that you've been to see the concert. But anyway, these guys are about to, these guys are roaming around with this band who are playing music that I've got no idea how good or bad it was. And this is where it gets really worse. And again, I've got to be very careful on the community guidelines. Sorry, just let me cross this road. So that they're roaming in the gloaming with carrying a leaf, and they've got St. Patrick's Onion Band playing some kind of tune. And then they decide that, again, I've got to be careful. I've got to be really careful on community guidelines, right? So there's a word that comes in here that begins with F, right? And I'm sure most of you can guess it, right? And it's got many applications, of course, but in its purest form, it means to have intimate relationships with. So then they tell us, and when the music stopped, have intimate relations with King Billy and John Knox. Now, King Billy we've discussed, and John Knox was a very militant Scottish Protestant, right? Both of them are long dead. So these guys are, we're wandering about waiting for music to stop, and the highlight of the day was to go and have intimate relationships with a couple of corpses. And they finished that off with saying it's good to be a Roman Catholic. And I never could associate the words of the song with it being good to be a Roman Catholic. So it was the stupidity of the whole thing that still goes on, unfortunately, today, that led me to come up with the name, the Not So Orange Walk. There's actually worse, if I was really to go into religion, then the ones that I really go after are these, what do you call them? The prosperity preachers, screwing hundreds of millions out of people who are desperate. And I tell you, you see Elon Musk and Doge and all this crap. If Elon Musk had any nuts, he would actually go after them, You get guys getting put in prison for fraud, for stealing $5,000 for the company, and these guys are openly committing fraud in front of us. But I better not get too much into that. So I hope that explains the meaning behind the Not So Orange Walk. I don't know why my gimbal is not working in the way a gimbal should be. I have tried to share the location with some people so they can follow, but it's not working, and I don't know why. I'm not ignoring anyone. Sorry, I don't know who the Dark Tales of Merlin is, but maybe somebody from, I don't know, he could be a Billy Boy, I guess. So that really explains the story of why it's called the Not the Orange Walk. I have now got to go and try and fix out these technical problems we have. Somebody just texted me to say they've just woken up, which isn't very good. So there's a proud onion on there. I'm just looking at the chat. Phones, thanks, we're with you. Dark Tales of Merlin, fight a monk, and I'll PayPal you. Funnily enough, I'm coming up to a Buddhist monastery, but they usually can do a good bit of kung fu, so I think $100 is not worth it. Where is it? Dark Tales of Merlin. It's Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. And actually, I'm not following the map because I'm talking to you guys, so I don't know if I've gone wrong or not yet. So I'm going to sign off here at the moment. I will do another live stream if I'm not quite sure if I go through District 4 or not, but when I'm around District 4, I'll do another live stream. And then when I reach the hotel, just to prove that I made it, I'll put that on as well. I do want to say thanks to some people, because it was the Oscars last night and I wasn't invited, so I do want to say, of course, thanks to Julia and the family for supporting me doing this. I've left them alone for 4 days, and yeah, I really appreciate the support. It's the people who helped me plan. I'm not a map reader, so again, Julia, Jan and David Lockwood, who helped me plan the route and gave me advice on the best ways to go. Who else? All right, yeah, Kyle and his son Jono gave me advice on the gimbal. That was really quite crucial and saved me quite a lot of money. To Van Ang and Feng Chao, who reminded me that I'm 58 years old and I might not make it. Thanks very much for that. I can't. Oh, also everybody who subscribed, of course, I'm grateful. The live stream time is obviously not good, but unfortunately people going to work, etc., and also the UK, it's a pretty awkward time. So but thanks for those who did tune in and listen to my religious rants. I hope you now understand why it's called Not the Orange Walk. I hope along the way I can show you some interesting things, and it will be enjoyable. I've now got to stop and actually work out where I am. So thanks everybody, take care. Thanks Jesse for saying stay safe. Why does everybody worry about my safety? I'm fine, I've got a hammer. So yeah, take care everybody, thanks again. If you think this video is shit, just let me know, because I'm not really going to get offended, because I don't really care. But I'll be back on hopefully in a couple of hours. It should take me 5 hours to reach the destination, but I'm going to need a couple of stops. So thanks again and take care, and I'll talk to you soon. How do I stop it? Fuck off. Stop. I can't stop it. It's asking me to share it. Stop. Why is it not stopping?